Portia here with Stitch Story. Today I wanted to share with you this cute little heart-shaped dangle. This is something that you can add to your key rings or to your purse. It's something that you can create very quickly and give as I was thinking about you give to someone that you love. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up. So let's jump right in. So here's what you'll need to complete this project. Some yarn. Here I'm using size 8 double pointed US needles. They don't need to be double pointed. It just makes it easier since the heart is made in a couple of different components. It makes it easy to switch back and forth, but you can certainly use regular knitting needles. You'll also need Fiberfill. You'll need some tools to be able to attach your metal swivel snap to the actual heart itself, like this. So just something that you can clamp around to be able to move the little jump ring to be able to insert it there into the heart. I've already made our first heart. So my example, I used a maroon pinkish color. And then I wanted to make a second heart. And this time I used pink. So this is what it looks like before you actually finish it. So I weaved in the ends that were dangling and stuff like that because we're going to make a second piece together. And then we're going to sew the two to complete the project. So let's get started. So what we're going to do first is cast on 3 stitches. I'm going to use the long tail cast on. And we are going to simply knit those 3 stitches. And what we're doing here is creating the first hump in the heart. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And now what we're going to do now is turn these 3 stitches into 5 by increasing. And the increase that we're going to use is called the knit front back, and it's pretty much KFB. So we're going to knit in the front like so. Knit. And then we're going to keep this yarn here on the needle, and then we're going to knit in the back. Pull through and off. So now we just turn that 1 stitch into 2. And then we are going to purl the second stitch. And we are going to increase again by knitting in the front and knitting in the back. And so we now turn those first 3 stitches into 5. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to go ahead and knit all 5 of these stitches. There we go. And now on our 4th row, we are going to increase again, and we're going to increase till we have 7 stitches. So we're going to knit, and then we're going to knit in the back. And then we are going to purl the next 3 stitches. And then we are going to increase again. So knit in the front, knit in the back. And now we have 7 stitches on our needle. And then from here, what we're going to do is knit all of the stitches straight across. Okay, so here we have the completed first hump, and or rather in my case this is actually the second hump, because what I did was went on ahead and made the first one already, and what we're going to do is just slip this one back onto the needle. And I'm using an acrylic yarn so the stitches don't slip off the needle that easily or anything like that. So when you do make yours, don't worry about them falling off or you having to start all over again or anything like that. It stayed pretty sturdy. And of course you could use another needle just to hold those stitches, but I just yanked it off. So what we're going to do is join these 14 stitches together. We are going to knit the first stitch, knit the last stitch, and we're going to purl the 12 stitches in between. So let's do that now. All right, so that's the first heart. Second heart. Now, one thing I like to do, you see this stitch dangle, well, yarn dangling here? I like to pick that up with my original, well, the yarn on the right hand needle and twist that around too, because what I found is with the way that I knit this heart, the middle join there gets a little wonky. So I'm going to drop the second stitch or the second yarn and continue to knit. It gets really loosey-goosey in there, and honestly it's not a problem because you hide all your little mistakes or the loose yarn when you knit the two pieces together, but it really gets on my nerves dangling there and getting all loosey-goosey when I'm trying to finish the rest of the heart. So I just decided to knit that in. And so we're at the end of the row, and that's the one knit. So now we have our two humps, and they are living nicely together. They're surviving. And let's go on to the next row. So now we are on row 7, and we're just going to simply knit all the way across. I remember a few years ago I made heart-shaped pillows for my daughters, and they absolutely love them. But they wouldn't do anything with a heart-shaped pillow nowadays. That's why I thought like an update to my original pattern that I used would be great as a keychain, because I know that's something that they would absolutely use, and even like I said, the purse dangle or hang from the back of their book bag and appreciate. All right, there we go. And we're going to move on. So right now we're still in the body of the heart, so we have not increased or decreased. So on this row here, which is row 8, we're going to knit 1 in the beginning, knit the very last stitch, and then we are going to purl all 12 in between. I think I'm going to make one of these hearts in purple. That's my favorite color. And I'm going to put it on my keychain. But I'll probably make it in a little bit of a smaller size, because with the size 8 needles that I'm using and the size yarn, the worsted weight yarn, this turned out to be approximately 3 by 3. And then, you know, depending upon what needle you use and what yarn you use, you can totally adjust the size. So make it smaller, make it bigger. It's totally up to you. The pattern is adaptable. Okay, so we are going to go into row 9, and with this row we are going to start to decrease. So we're going to decrease by knitting the first stitch, and we're going to use what's called the slip knit. So SSK, we are going to slip this stitch, slip the next stitch, and then we're going to move those 2 stitches onto, we're going to move the left hand needle onto those 2 stitches, keeping the right hand needle in the back, and we are going to knit. And there we have our first decrease. So from there, what we're going to do is knit the 6 stitches in the middle. Rather, what we're going to do is knit the 8 stitches in the middle. Until we get to the last 3 stitches. So now here we are at our last 3 stitches. What we're going to do is knit these 2 together. Inserting the needle right there. I'm going to wrap around and then slide off. So those 2 stitches have now become 1, and then we are going to end with a knit 1. So there you have it. Our first decrease is made. So we took our 14 stitches down to 12, and what we're going to do is just purl. And this is the back side. So what we're going to do is we're going to knit 1. We are going to purl the 10 in between, and then we're going to knit the last stitch. So let's get that done. This pattern is easy to remember as well, so as you practice and do it and make a few, because honestly if you're just sitting in front of the TV you could do it kind of like in a mindless way. And again, we're at the end, we knit that. All right, let's take a look at our work so far. Looking good. We see our heart is beginning to take shape. It looks a little wonky, of course, but we'll make it work in the end. So we are back on the front of our work. We're on the right side, and what we're going to do with this row is time for us to decrease again. We're going to take those 12 stitches down to 10 stitches. So in order to do that, we are going to knit 1. We are going to do our slip, slip, knit. Okay, and then we are going to knit the middle stitches until we get down to the last 3. All right, these last 2 stitches we are going to knit them 2 together. We knit the last one. All right, there we have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is exactly where we should be at this point. So what we're going to do, we're at the back side of the purl side of our work again. We are going to knit the first stitch, knit the last stitch, and we're going to purl every single stitch in between. All right, so now we are ready to decrease again. We are going to take these 10 stitches that we have here and we're going to turn them into 8 stitches. So we are going to knit, we are going to slip, slip, knit, and then we're going to knit until we get to the last 3 stitches again. We are going to knit 2 together, knit the last one. All right, on this row we are going to purl 1. We're going to knit 1, and then we are going to purl in between. Let's knit that last one. All right, let's take a look at our work. So far so good, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are going to decrease again, so we're going to take those 8 stitches down to 6. Again, we're going to, let's get some more yarn here. So picking up our work again, we are going to knit 1, and we're going to slip, slip, knit. We are going to knit until we get to the last 3 stitches. Oops. All right, and then we're going to knit those 2 together. Knit 1. All right, we are back to our purl side. So again, we're going to knit the first stitch, knit the last stitch. We're going to purl the middle stitches. There we go. Okay, we are going to take these 6 down to 4. Knit first, and we're going to slip, slip, knit. I'm going to try that again. Knit. All right. And then we are going to knit these 2 together. Knit the last one. We're going to knit 1, purl the 2, knit 1. Okay, so time to decrease again. Take these 4 down to 2. And our heart is done. Looks a little wonky, but it'll be fine. So what we're going to do here is just bind off. We're going to bind off purlwise this time. So we are going to knit, purl rather. We're still binding off on the right side. So purl those last 2, and then we're going to bring the first stitch over the second stitch, pull that through, and we are going to pull it through. And there we have our second heart. Now we have these ends all hanging. You're gonna actually end up just sewing them in with the pattern. So we got our 2 pieces here. And what I did with the first one was I just took a crochet hook and weaved those in a little bit, but it's not necessary. You don't have to do that because you can just fold them in as you're sewing the 2 pieces together. And we're just gonna thread here. We're gonna put the pieces back to back, so wrong side out to sew them. Now I usually leave these ends hanging out because it gives me some leeway to kind of stretch it into whatever shape before I insert them back inside. And so while I sew these together, I'll just fast forward through that a little bit. So we whip stitched all the way around, and I left a little hole here because we have to turn it inside out. So let's do that now. So I like to use a crochet hook or even another needle to kind of help me get those corners out, help turn it inside out. Really didn't need it this time. All right. Get that shaped. All right, looking good. I am going to use my crochet hook to pull this little piece through though. And stuff that in there. So now let's get our fiber feel. Okay, gonna rethread our needle. And let's finish whipping this together. All right, so there we have it, our little pink heart. All right, so what we're gonna do next is turn this into a little keychain or a dongle, whatever you choose to call it, something to hang from something else. So what we're gonna do is take this metal swivel snap and we're going to pick up one of the stitches here and pretty much thread it through. Now here I'm using pliers that you would use in jewelry making, but if you have regular old pliers at home, they'll do the exact same thing. So what I'm gonna do, now I'll use this one. Pick this up. I'm gonna grip it with one set of pliers So we can just get this jump ring opened like so, and then we are going to pick a stitch in the middle and thread it through like that. Then we use our other set to help close the ring back up. See, all done. And there you have it, our completed project. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Also, can you go ahead and subscribe to Porcha's Stitch Story right now? Just click the subscribe button right below this video. Until next time, bye-bye.